Hello and bonjour, I'm Sarah Bukhari and you're watching Power Dilemma News and Views here at TAG TV. To the municipal election viewers, just a few hours left to vote. You must have voted yesterday because when you will watch this show, there will be a winner. The following analysis is based on the brief history of candidates. Races in Hamilton, Brampton, London and Toronto are among those who are capturing attention. Municipal elections, as I said earlier, are taking place right now. Voters will choose mayors, reeves and councillors in 444 municipalities in the province. Here are a few of the most hotly contested races. Hamilton Mayor. The race in Steeltown is boiling down to a scrap over light rapid transit and the promised $1 billion in provincial funding to build it. Hamilton's incumbent mayor Fred Eisenberger is in a dead heat with newcomer Vito Seguro, according to the one published poll about the race. Eisenberger supports the LRT. Seguro is campaigning on cancelling the LRT plan in favor of spending the $1 billion in other ways. The previous Liberal government in Ontario committed the money to the project in 2015. This past spring, before becoming Premier, Doug Ford said the $1 billion could be used for other transit or infrastructure projects. In August, Ford's government hit the pause button on acquiring property for the LRT route. Eisenberger has the endorsement of NDP leader Andrea Horwath. Seguro is backed by former Hamilton Mayor Bob Britannia. Brampton Mayor, former Progressive Conservative leader Patrick Brown made the Brampton election a race to watch by jumping in at the last minute against incumbent Mayor Linda Jeffrey. This is Brown's third stab at a political comeback since resigning as PC leader in January amid allegations of sexual impropriety. In February, Brown entered the race to win back his old job before dropping out. In July, he launched a bid to be elected Peel Regional Chair, but shortly after the Ford government announced it was scrapping that election, the next day, Brown registered to run for mayor in Brampton. Jeffrey, a former provincial Liberal cabinet minister, became mayor in 2014 by knocking off then-incumbent Susan Fennell. Jeffrey is getting support from across the political spectrum, including from PCs who backed Ford. Brown has the nod from one of Brampton's most prominent residents, former Premier Bill Davis. Toronto Council is also very hot in elections. Toronto Council incumbent city councillors tend to cruise to victory in Toronto, winning more than 90% of the time in the past 4 elections. That makes Toronto's council elections typically humdrum and predictable, but that won't be the case this time. By slashing the size of Toronto City Council to 25 wards, Ford instantly created plenty of races to watch. Incumbent councillors are squaring off in 11 wards in what some have called a Hunger Games of Toronto politics, calling Toronto City Council the most dysfunctional political arena. Ford moves to chop its size. Most of the incumbent versus incumbent races pit councillors on the same side of the ideological spectrum against each other, so the overall balance of power of council may not change significantly, an analysis held. However, there are 2 races that could affect the left-right political makeup. Incumbents Giorgio Mamaloudi and Anthony Peruza are on the ballot in Humber River Black Creek, while incumbents James Pasternak and Maria Ogimeri are vying to be the winner in York Centre. So viewers, this was a little backdrop on the hottest contested elections. The results must be there. You're watching this show when there is going to be a winner and there will be results. What do you think of the winners in all these hotly contested cities and towns? Do let us know by liking our page. With this, we're going to take a short break, and once we come back, there is more to know. Welcome back to Power Dilemma News and Views with Sarah Bukhari at TAG TV. Viewers, an update on Khashoggi's death. An alleged Saudi plot to cover up the killing of dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi went awry after a suspected Khashoggi body double wore the wrong shoes. The report came shortly after CNN published footage that appeared to show a man exiting the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on October the 2nd wearing a fake beard and glasses, as well as the pants, shirt and jacket that Khashoggi was seen wearing when he entered the building earlier in the day. The man was also captured on video at the Blue Mosque, a historic mosque and tourist attraction in the city. The Saudi government has provided conflicting explanations for Khashoggi's killing. For more than 2 weeks, officials claimed to have no involvement in Khashoggi's disappearance. Over the weekend, state media reversed course, saying that Khashoggi was killed by accident in a fistfight involving a number of Saudi intelligence operatives. A Turkish official told CNN that the body double was used as a decoy, posing as the journalist to bolster the country's case that it was not involved in Khashoggi's killing. According to the Washington Post report, that plan was soured by a sartorial mishap. In the video footage, the purported body double, identified as Mustafa al-Madani, is wearing different shoes than Khashoggi wore when he entered the consulate. Madani is suspected of working for a Saudi intelligence agency, the Post reported. He appeared in New York earlier this year ahead of a diplomatic visit from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Saudi embassy in Washington did not respond to a request for comment from CNBC. The video footage provides more evidence that Khashoggi's killing was premeditated and also further implicates Crown Prince Mohammed, who has cultivated a close relationship with members of the Trump administration, including White House senior advisor Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law. Amid the uproar in Washington and around the world over the killing of Khashoggi, who was a contributor to the Washington Post's opinion section, the White House has been divided over how to handle its response. President Donald Trump, who has been hesitant to take action that could disturb the close bilateral relationship or threaten U.S. arms sales to the country, has been more outwardly critical of the Saudis in recent days. He said in an interview with the Post on Saturday that there's been deception and there's been lies. Viewers, what do you think of this very mysterious death and killing? That's a question to you. And you can always like our page and share your views with Power Dilemma News and Views with Sarah Bukhari. Let's take a quick break, and once we come back, there is more to share. Welcome back to Power Dilemma's News and Views with Sarah Bukhari. A lot on ISIS returnees and the PC bill. The Ontario Progressive Conservative government's proposed plan to permanently strip convicted terrorists of benefits like access to healthcare coverage could be unconstitutional and exceeds the powers of a provincial government, say some legal expert. The private members' bill, sponsored by PC MPP Dave Smith, formerly called the Terrorist Activity Sanctions Act, would permanently remove those convicted of a terrorist offense from obtaining privileges like an Ontario driver's license, accessing provincial health coverage, housing assistance, or even a fishing and hunting license. Charisma Mathan, a professor of constitutional law at the University of Ottawa, said the bill could violate Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which protects a person's right to life. The bill, announced over the weekend, amends several acts to add additional punishments for individuals convicted under anything in Sections 83.18 to 83.221 of the Criminal Code, which cover acts like participating in terror activities or leaving Canada to commit acts of terrorism. No person is entitled to continue to be an insured person if the person has been convicted of an offense under any of sections 83.18 to 83.221 of the Criminal Code on or after the day this subsection comes into force, says part of Terrorist Activity Sanctions Act. In addition to removing access to certain social programs, the children of those convicted would also be considered in need of protection as defined by the Child, Youth and Family Services Act, which allows the government to remove the child from the parent's care either permanently or temporarily. Premier Doug Ford and other PC MPPs have said the bill was created to address the issue of returning members of the so-called Islamic State and perceived inaction from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The question who you want to look into is the provincial government being just by removing privileges to the ISIS jihadi returnees in Canada? And yes, viewers, that is the question I would like to ask you. Do you think it is just and fair that certain privileges are stripped from the ISIS returnees or jihadi returnees? Canada is a very peaceful platform. Canada is a very peaceful country. Why should Canada welcome any person who has been involved in terrorist activity outside of Canada? With this thought, we are going to come back next week. Keep watching Power Dilemma with Sarah Bukhari at TAG TV. Ciao.